Hey guys, this is my first time making a video, so bear with me. It's not the most effective system for a tutorial on how to make these beefless bao buns. So just now I added some warm water, a packet of yeast from like any regular yeast roll bread mix, and then I also added some sugar. And basically you're just gonna let this sit until the yeast rises to the top. Alright, so once your yeast has started to like float to the top and gotten bubbly, you're going to want to add some salt to the mix and then also some vegetable oil. And then once we've got that done, we can go ahead and add our flour, or rather in my case, I'm using just a regular packet of yeast roll mix from the store. Once everything's in there, you can go ahead and start mixing it up. I use a spoon so my hands don't get all clumpy and floury right away. But once it's gotten into kind of like a ball, you can start kneading from there. Oh, and I also add like the flour to kind of help it stop being so wet. In this case, I use like garbanzo bean flour, but you can just use regular all-purpose. I think the garbanzo kind of gives the buns a sweeter taste. And then once you're done kneading the dough, you just cover it up and let it sit for an hour. So for my fake meat or my fake beef, I'm using Gardine's Beefless tips. So open that up, and the first thing you're going to want to add is teriyaki. Then you're going to want to add some garlic paste. Then I added like a little drop of sesame oil because this stuff is super powerful. And then also some vegetable oil. I added a little bit of sugar. Some cayenne pepper. Oh, not cayenne, sorry, chili powder. I also added some garlic powder, some Old Bay, some black pepper, adobo, some seasoning salt, and cumin, some jalapeno powder. And lastly, I wanted to use Korean barbecue sauce, but I just used a replacement sauce I found in the store instead. It's some sweet heat chili sauce. But basically, just use whatever kind of sauce you want to use. I like Korean barbecue, but whatever works for you. And then just shake the bag up. Oh, and I added a little bit more brown sugar at the end there. So after making the marinade for the beef, I just let both the dough and the beef sit for another hour, and then I started on the dough again. Basically, you're just gonna portion it however you want. I kind of cut the dough in half and then use one half to make 8 little buns. And you can kind of watch how I do it here. So after you've done portioning the buns, basically just get your steamer ready, and we're gonna steam the buns while we prepare the meat so that they can both be kind of ready at the same time. I added foil to the bottom of my little steamer tray thing, and then I also sprayed it so that the buns wouldn't stick as much because they do tend to stick as they're cooking. To get started on the meat, you're going to want to get some mushrooms and some red onions and chop those up. After you finish chopping those up, you're going to want to turn your burner on with the saute pan. You're going to want to add some oil to that pan. I also added a little drop of sesame oil to the vegetable oil as well. Once the oil has heated up, you can go ahead and start sauteing your onions and mushrooms. So once your water is hot, by the way, you can go ahead and just add the buns to the steamer and then cover that up. Once the onions start to sweat a little, you can go ahead and just add your beef and the marinade. I tried to squeeze out as much of the sauce as I could from the bag, and then just stir that up. Don't forget to take out your buns as they finish cooking. I think for me it took like maybe 8 to 10 minutes for each set of buns. It doesn't really take much to cook the beef. I just added some seasonings along the way. And basically, once your beef is done and the buns are done, you're just ready to plate. So here are the buns, and here's the beef. And here's the finished product.